my name is Shayla Wynn.
And I'm Luciana Keiko.
We are from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories.
We go to Mildred Hall School and we're in the 6th grade.
Our topic is about walking with our sisters.
Sister, I'm crying, but can't forget that you were stronger than iron, and I can't forget the look.
In 1942, both the Women's Royal Canadian Naval Service and the Canadian Royal Air Force Women's Division were formed. Both women's groups were doing jobs that weren't considered female occupations, such as electrical and mechanical trades, motor transport driver, and steward stenographer.
Marie-Anne s'en va au moulin, Marie-Anne s'en va au moulin. C'est pour y faire moudre son grain, c'est pour y faire moudre son grain. À cheval sur son âne, ma petite mademoiselle Marianne, à cheval sur son âne catin, s'en allant au moulin.
The Cunard Line really did have a big impact on PEI and the world, but Samuel Cunard himself had a big impact on my family because he bought 1/6 of the land on PEI, and that land is where my house is today.
Good grief! I just had a nightmare that Samuel Cunard is having second thoughts on buying land on Prince Edward Island. I have to go back in time and convince him to sign those papers.
Ethel and her family ended up going to the Klondike Gold Rush. However, they did not get very much gold, so they went back and ended up selling their house and moved to Selma, California. When she was 16, she met a man of 16 years whose name was Clarence Berry. A year later, they got married. Ethel and her husband did end up going to the Klondike Gold Rush, and they made $7 million in gold.
Commander Anthony McDermott was a senior naval officer for Newfoundland. He was told by many people that Newfoundlanders would never leave their families at the height of fishing season to join a war they knew little about. But they did, almost 2,000 of them, including my 2 great-grandfathers. Let's meet them.
Canada. Immigrants have shaped what we now call home. It is hard to believe that 1 out of 5 Canadians were born on foreign soil, and the majority of those come from the country across the ocean, China. And yet these Chinese immigrants have gone through endless struggles, suffered strong discrimination in order to reach where they are today.
I understand that the Hurung people are smart and creative like us Inuit. We have similar way of living, except we live in a colder place. I think all Canadians should know about Hurung people and all the other Aboriginal people.
Back on land, families anxiously waited for the return of the Edward VII. Days passed, but there was no sign of the schooner. A search and rescue mission was unsuccessful, and authorities deemed the crew and passengers missing and were soon drowned at sea. Families in the entire area were in mourning, and a memorial service was held for all 9 of the men on board. Imagine the heartbreak.
Right now, I am staying next to the HMCS Haida, which distinguished herself as Canada's most active warship by sinking no less than 9 German ships from April to September 1944. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to meet Mr. John Pierce, a 100-year-old war veteran who fought in the Battle of the Atlantic.
The king at the time, Edward VII, wanted people to migrate and settle in Canada for reasons like trading, industry, imports and exports, which would help start a country.
Après la défaite des plaines d'Abraham de 1759, les Anglais ont pris le pouvoir et ont fini par refuser la monnaie carte à jouer. Elle perdit donc sa valeur et les Français n'avaient plus de monnaie. À l'aube du développement économique du Canada, il y avait en circulation de nombreuses pièces qui faisaient office de monnaie. On vit même circuler pendant un temps des boutons aplatis. Ces diverses formes de monnaie finirent par embrouiller le processus d'échange.
All right, listen up, Jackie. You're gonna go north 16 miles and then back another 16, okay? You get snowed in, you hang out in one of the cabins, right? I'll be here relaying the messages. Now, you gotta get it down your radio. before the snow comes.
My great-grandmother was tied to her younger brother Francis and was sent off to find safety by her father. They ran and found a soldier who directed them to the trenches because of the battles. They spent 2 days in these trenches, surrounded by battles, soldiers, and the silence of death. My great-grandmother held tight to her younger brother Francis and would never be the same.
Conditions for these children were brutal. Some jobs done by these children were farm laborers, chimney sweeps, rag pickers, matchbox makers, beggars, mine workers, woolen mill workers, and brickyard workers.
Matches for sale. We're cold and hungry. Help us feed our family.
Another long day in the chimneys.
We better get some sleep.
Growing up here in southern Alberta, I used to wonder what the bright yellow flowers in the farmers' fields were. I took this opportunity to learn and discover more about canola. In 1920, Mr. and Mrs. Slovanak moved to Shellbrook, Saskatchewan from Poland. They brought with them a handful of Polish rapeseed and planted it in their garden. By harvest, the crop doubled and continued to increase each year after that.
The year is 1801. Alex Godfrey has gone to Halifax to request a letter mark from Nova Scotia's Governor Whitford. The governor is happy to grant the hunting license, as the British Navy is stretched thin. Godfrey also asked the Port Admiral for cannon powder, shot, and muskets, which he has happily promised to provide.
In 1945, the Dutch Queen sent 100,000 tulips to Canada to say thank you for protecting the royal family during the war. To show they will never forget, the Dutch still send tulip bulbs to us to say thank you. In turn, Canada celebrates with Ottawa's Tulip Festival, which started in 1953 and is the largest in the world.
Fond du Lac has around 1,500 people. Mi'kmaq is the name of the town in Inuktitut. It is called Mi'kmaq because there was a man named Mi'kmaq who died here. Algonquin are the First Nation group. I think we always should know about the First Nation group because we are all part of the Canada.
The Royal Rifles launched a recruitment campaign in eastern Quebec and northern New Brunswick in the summer of 1940. 53 young men from the area, eager for adventure, responded to the call. Ultimately, these young men were ordered to the defense of Hong Kong in the late fall of 1941 to defend the British colony against invading Japanese troops.
Before we flew to Wakwati, we phoned to ask if there were any protocols we should follow. They said we should come into the band office when we arrive and let them know our travel route and when we would be back. That way they could keep an eye out for us. They also suggested that we should respect the land, not disturb their traditional sites, and that we should pay the water. To pay the water, you put something like a branch into the water as you say a prayer. When you pray, you're to ask for safe travels and to say thanks to the water.
Augustin a construit le premier bâtiment. C'est Oscar qui a commercialisé la production laitière avec 3 de ses fils. Aujourd'hui, c'est mon père Éric avec son cousin Marcel qui ont informatisé et modernisé toutes les installations. Au début, la traite des vaches était faite à la main 2 fois par jour. Ce travail demandait beaucoup de temps et de main-d'œuvre.
The Caribou Wagon Road from Yale to Barkerville was finished in November of that year as well. The road, 400 miles long, brought more people, jobs, and opportunity to the central interior. It was supervised by the rail engineers under the direction of Governor James Douglas. He was a British colonist who brought law and order and helped the growth of the colonies in BC. He was often called the father of British Columbia.
On May 1st, 1919, the first workers to go on strike were the Winnipeg building and metal workers, followed by the telephone operators, known as the Hello Girls. The strike spread from area to area, eventually shutting down Winnipeg. The unions demanded a 40-hour week, a minimum wage, and collective bargaining.
As their dreams for better life in Oklahoma began to fade, the first African-American settlers made their move to Saskatchewan in 1910. They were enticed by an advertisement in their newspaper in Oklahoma saying they could get free land if they moved to Western Canada. So 12 African-American families took advantage of better life and traveled to Elton District, 30 kilometers north of Maidstone, Saskatchewan. Thank you, Canada, for allowing African Americans the opportunity to be free, to be safe, and build a better life for the future generations. The original African American settlers have taught us not to give up when things get hard.
In 2008, George Brady received the Order of Ontario because he's honoring Hannah's life and is sharing her story around the globe. Thanks to 3 amazing Canadians, George Brady, Lara Brady, Karen Levine, Canadians as well as people around the world now get a chance to tell Hannah's story. I think that if we come together to continue the work, we can share the message of tolerance and peace.